All right, this is from Newsweek. Coca-Cola, facing mounting backlash from conservatives online, has responded to allegations of anti-white rhetoric after an internal whistleblower leaked screenshots of diversity training materials that encourages staff to try to be less white. By the way, starting here in the very first sentence, you notice how Newsweek says that it's conservatives who are the ones who are causing this backlash over the anti-white racism for Coca-Cola. Now, that's correct. It is mostly conservatives. But you see how readily the media admits that conservatives are the only ones who care about racism against white people. The media will readily accept, in fact, is happy to give that issue to conservatives. On Friday, it's back to the articles, it says, on Friday, Carolyn Baransenko, an activist who supports banning critical race theory, shared images from an internal whistleblower of the company's online racism training. The slides included tips to learners on how to be less white, less arrogant, less certain, less defensive, less ignorant, and more humble. Because, of course, we know that, that's synonymous with white, is being arrogant and all those other things. Now, so this is the part you probably heard about all this. A Coca-Cola spokesperson confirmed that the course is part of a learning plan to help build an inclusive workforce, but also noted that, quote, the video circulating on social media is from a publicly available LinkedIn learning series and is not a focus of our company's curriculum. They said our Better Together global learning curriculum is part of a learning plan to help build an inclusive workforce. It is comprised of a number of short vignettes, each a few minutes long. The training includes access to LinkedIn learning on a variety of topics, including on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay. So that's your classic non-denial denial. Because they're saying, they're not coming out and saying this is totally made up and photoshopped, it's not real. They're saying, yeah, this is part of the curriculum, it's just, that's not our focus. We're not focused on that part of it. Well, if we want to know whether that excuse should wash, then all we have to do is, like I always say with something like this, if you want to know whether it's racist, and if it's not immediately clear to you, like something like this should be, all you have to do is take white out and put another race in. So if Coca-Cola was putting their employees through a training course that at any point included the instruction to be less black, there would be no controversy at all. We wouldn't be calling this a controversy. There'd be nothing like that. Around, just everybody would agree, across all aisles would agree that it's inexcusable racism. And it's racism, by the way. Just straightforward racism. Because the other thing that I've seen in response to this Coca-Cola story is the claim that this is reverse racism. In fact, there are still some, I think most conservatives have wised up on this issue, but there are still some conservatives that I've seen saying, this is reverse racism. Coca-Cola is committing reverse racism. No, this is not reverse racism. Let's be clear about that. Coca-Cola is not guilty of reverse racism. They are guilty of racism. Straightforward, regular old racism. There's no such thing as reverse racism. There's just racism. That's it. Reverse racism implies, when you say reverse racism, you're surrendering the point. You're ceding ground. You're agreeing with the left's premise that racism itself is a white thing. And that white people own racism. And so if a black person or if a non-white person is racist, all they're doing is reversing the racism. Which has a hint, the phrase itself has a hint of kind of giving them a taste of their own medicine. Right? Or we're reversing the racism back on you. No. There's no race that owns racism. Racism is racism. Reverse racism is not a thing. This is simply racism. Listen, hit that subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It is somewhat appreciated.